Hi, welcome to another AmateurLogic.TV, episode 41.
Wow, really getting up there.
Yeah, I'm George.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Peter.
And Tommy is not here. He had to work late. We're hoping maybe he's going to run in late here.
Yeah, we're thinking he might be able to walk on the set late.
Yeah, and speaking of set, we actually have a set now.
Woohoo!
Thanks to the new shack / man cave, we're getting to spread out a little bit. We're not bumping elbows with each other like we have in the past.
Peter, I just don't know what's going on. Peter built him a new, great, big, large, huge man cave. Then you built you a great, big, large, huge man cave. I guess Tommy and I are just going to have to get up off our pocketbooks and build us one.
That's what it's going to take, and it's long overdue, man. I've lived in a little 5x5 space where I can just barely turn around my chair for the last 10 years or better. So it's nice to be able to.
I am really envious, and I know there's probably many of our viewers have a ham shack like mine.
Oh, yours is much bigger than what I had.
With podcasting, you really do need a larger room, particularly for what you'll probably be doing in the near future, which of course is that green screen behind you. You'll find very useful for various kinds of presentations, I would say. So it's definitely an improvement, and I think you'll enjoy it greatly.
I think so, and thanks to Wayne and his brother Vince for coming and helping put all this together. It's been a lot of work. We worked almost 3 weeks to get the wiring and insulation and the walls and sealing it all done, but it's worth it. You know.
And what our viewers may not readily see, and even Peter can see some of it, but he can't see all of it, is what all that we have new behind the scenes. Maybe we can take a couple of snapshots, still shots, and put it out there on our Facebook page, showing some of the other new gear. We've got some pretty big monitors that we can see ourselves on behind the camera, and some huge, nice new softbox lights, and all kind of new toys to play with. It's going to make us almost look pretty. Well,
don't go that far. Well, let's get to rolling here. I've got some emails, Jim.
Yeah, so do I. Let's hear some.
Well, this one comes from Tim, K4KWQ, and Tim says, I love your shows on Amateur Logic, and he also watches Ham Nation. He says, I wanted to ask if any one of you guys have ever done anything with the All-Star Network, and that's at All-Star
Link? All-Star Link?
All-Star LIN.
Probably is All-Star LIN. Maybe there's a K on it.
We'll check it.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. He says, I've built many nodes and the audio is very nice, much better than Echolink. Didn't know that. It says, one nice thing about All-Star is that you can link many systems together at one time. And he's encouraging us to check it out. So we're going to have to do something on All-Star. It's not the first email we've had about it.
Tim lives down in Florida, and I've talked to him, and we did an interview with him, and unfortunately, conditions were such that the video footage nor the audio footage came out well. Let me tell you, Tim is #1 sharp on that All-Star stuff, and it's worth a look. He educated me on the topic, and they've got some good things going on.
Yeah, I've talked to Tim a few times on the Google Hangouts. He gets on there in the evenings on the Ham Radio Hangout, and we've chatted a little bit. And I haven't been on there much in the last couple of weeks, though, because I've been shackless.
You've been off the air and getting moved into your new shack and getting the new shack built and everything longer than I've ever known you to be off the air before, ever.
Yeah, and no radios at all. Finally, now I have a dual band rig back in, so I can get on VHF and UHF, but all the other radios are still in boxes.
It was like radio silence there for a while, Peter.
Yeah, and whilst we're on the subject, actually, one thing that intrigued me a little bit about your new shack was how you actually got your coax into the shack. Because this is quite a bit of a challenge, as I found out myself. I ended up buying a small little, what would you call it, like an L piece, which goes into my wall, which allows me to get a few pieces of coax through. But how did you solve the problem there, George?
It's a secret, isn't it, George?
Stay tuned, because we're going to be seeing that shortly here. Peter, have you got any emails down under there?
I've got an email here from Philip, N4GWV, and he enjoys our shows very much, and he enjoyed the balun that I constructed a week or two or month or two back. So that was it's actually technically not a balun, but it's a very useful device. Thanks, Philip.
Good deal. Well, I've got one, Peter. This is from Ray, KJ4YBD, and it's about stealth antennas. Ray says, just got my general, finally got a transceiver, and I have a request. Would you guys do a show on the HOAs, that stands for Homeowners Association, restrictions on antennas, and what you would recommend to put up as your best stealth antenna for, like limited under 1 acre lots in a subdivision? And Ray, stealth antennas, that's a great topic. I've been thinking about doing a segment on that, but just to let you know, legally right now, there's not a lot that you can do today as an amateur if a subdivision has existing CC&Rs, community covenants and restrictions. But here's a little note. The FCC is currently accepting input on this very topic. There's a bill before Congress, there's an FCC proposed notice to rulemaking deal, and if you Google it, you'll find it and you'll see what I mean. So by all means, go tell them about it, how you feel, and maybe we'll get something done. Now, that's the FCC. Peter, what's the governing authority in Australia?
In Australia, the department is called the Australian Communications and Media Authority, the ACMA. It's changed names a few times, but that's the current name there, Jimmy.
And restriction-wise, I'm assuming you also have something like CC&Rs or community covenant restrictions in neighborhoods?
We have local councils here that can make local rules and regulations. They tend to mostly regulate the height of constructions or anything you build that's over about, I think, 6 foot over your roof height. So it will probably vary a bit from according to where you live. But basically, if you build anything big, you've got to go and get a building permit. And that can be both an expensive and a time-consuming process, unfortunately.
Okay, so George, isn't it the case that our local authorities, like the city or county, if a neighborhood has covenant restrictions on towers or satellite dishes, can't they come in and say, we're sorry, Mr. Homeowners Association, you've got to let this amateur have this tower, if they so choose to?
I don't know, Jim. I would say possibly. The government agencies here can't put restrictions on us.
Right.
The city can't put a restriction and say I can't have an antenna, but
the
a local neighborhood.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. If you sign an agreement when you move in the neighborhood, it says I'll abide by these rules.
Or you don't even have to sign it. Just if they are pre-existing rules, they give you a copy if you're moving into a neighborhood.
And that's one thing I checked before I bought this house.
Yeah.
And there were none.
Yeah.
So that helped make my decision. But I don't guess any of us are affected by that. I don't think Tommy is either.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
By the way, in Australia, those restrictive covenants are perhaps a little less common than we do have them, but you're more likely to find them in something like, an aged care kind of a setup where perhaps you buy a unit in a retirement village, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, Tommy is not here.
Right.
And you know, field day this year, we didn't do field day, did we?
I was unable to, and I think you were tied up.
My building was delivered the day before field day. So here's the story. Tommy and I had talked about doing it and tentatively planned to do it, and then decided, no, it was just almost near 100 degrees here. And it was just going to be kind of tough to get it together at the last minute. And everybody who was going, you know, to join with us, you know, backed out too. So
come on, ARRL. Mercy, man. It's 100 degrees. Move it to October.
Yeah, move it sometime a little bit cooler if you want Southern participation, I'd say, because it's hard to do. But anyway,
it's 100 in the shade.
Tommy and I decided, well, we'll just go visit some of the local clubs and get some video of their field day. And since my building was delivered the day before, I was still, you know, reeling from that and trying to get things together on field day itself. So Tommy went out and shot this video by himself.
Bless his heart.
Wayne did not get the message that we had canceled field day. So he showed up here about noon that day, that Saturday, and I put him to work, and we got a lot of stuff done in here.
That's why we're sitting here today.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
Let's take a look at Tommy's field day video.
All right.
Good morning. It's field day. I'm out here by the Ross Barnett Reservoir near Jackson, Mississippi. I'm at the JARC, Jackson Amateur Radio Club's field day site. We're going to go in, watch them do some setup, maybe talk to a few of them about what field day is about to them, and get some video of them operating, just kind of generally look around. For those of you that don't know, field day is about emergency preparation and about getting on the air. This is the day you take all that stuff that you've bought to be ready for when the power goes out and things like that for emergency. All those batteries, extra antennas that you've got, get them out today, set them up, and make sure it's all ready for when a disaster strikes. That's when amateur radios are at their most usefulness, in my opinion. That's part of the reason why I actually became a ham. Get your stuff out, test it out, make sure you're ready when it's needed. Let's go inside and take a look around and talk to a few of the guys and see what's going on. Looks like they've got the portable antenna thing down to an art. That's a nice spool of coax. You can roll your antenna up on it as well. We've got the dipole suspended between the tree and the field and the tree next to the building so they can easily route the coax through the window. Here's the phone station, the logging computer, IC 7000 and the power supply, and we've got the GOTA station in a nice portable case. I really like that. Of course, they're going to be working off of generator power to get the most points for the contacts that they make. Well, I'm not that into CW. This is really impressive. This one CW station here, may have been this one guy. I didn't notice anyone else operating it, but the total number of contacts they made for the entire field day was around 200, as opposed to the 150 that the other station made with digital and voice. So that's not bad. CW is not dead. All right, I ran into Jim here. Jim's the new president of the JARC. I believe you go in on July the 1st, is that right?
That would be correct, yes, Tommy.
Okay. Can you tell me what you guys got set up here? It looks like you scaled down just a little bit from last year, I think.
Yeah, we did. One thing, you know, we're at Old Trace Park on the Ross Barnett Reservoir here in Ridgeland. And last year we had a setup where we had everything kind of in the woods, if you're familiar with the park. This year we decided to have all of our stations indoors into the air conditioning, except for the GOTA station, which is right behind me. We're also continuing running on generator power, which you know, you get extra points for doing that as well. But we decided to make it a little bit more simplistic this year, make it a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, speaking of comfort, I see you guys got a little AC around here. That's in Mississippi at this time of the year, man. That's a big plus.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of the things that we were looking at. You know, you're looking at 97, 98 degree temperatures, and that's without the heat index. And at night, it's really bad around here. Typical of Mississippi, you've got a lot of bugs and a lot of things going on. So just decided to make our members more comfortable and, you know, hopefully get a lot more people out here with it being indoors like it is.
Yeah, speaking of more people out, I heard one of the guys talking about they sent out, I think, more press releases to local newspapers and news media than before. Is that right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we did. You know, the main goal of Field Day is not only to make sure that you are ready for an emergency situation by exercising your generators and your radio equipment and so on and so forth, but you know, you want to get the word out to the public, because the primary purpose in our eyes is not only to have fun, but to get other people that are interested in amateur radio, especially kids. And we'd like to get more kids involved in amateur radio, and that's the purpose of the Go-To station, as you well know, because you can, as long as there's a licensed operator, you can let kids or adults that are not ham operators experience what it's like to be an operator. And if you haven't had your license for more than a year, you can also do that as well. So that's one of the main goals of Field Day, is to familiarize the public with, you know, amateur radio.
Yeah, it's a worthy goal. And for those of you that don't know, Go-To is Get on the Air station.
Correct.
And anyway, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to us.
Sure, Tommy, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Whiskey 5, Papa Fox Charlie. Yeah, Whiskey 5, private first class.
I'm sorry, I think Whiskey 5. Whiskey 5 again?
Whiskey 5, Papa Foxtrot Charlie.
Whiskey 5, Papa Foxtrot Charlie. I believe you're 3 Echo, Ohio.
Thank you, 3 Echo, Ohio. 2 Alpha Mike Sugar. 2 Alpha Mike Sugar. I need your call again.
It's Whiskey 8 Delta Yankee.
Yankee, what Yankee? Was that Whiskey 8 Delta Yankee?
Whiskey 5, Papa Foxtrot Charlie. You report.
2 Alpha Mike Sugar. 2 Alpha Mike Sugar. I need your call one more time.
Whiskey 8 Delta Yankee. Whiskey 8 Delta Yankee. Your second section.
2 Alpha Mike Sugar. 2 Alpha Mississippi, over.
Okay, gotcha. 2 Alpha. You're 3 Echo, Ohio.
QSL 2 Ohio. Thank you, sir. Good luck.
You know what? Hey, ran into my friend Johnny here. He's operating the Go-To station. Actually, this isn't the Go-To station at the moment, is it? This is the real thing. It was the Go-To station when they first set up. But anyway, what's your call, Johnny?
W5PFR.
Yeah. Tell me about the exchange you're giving with
what we're doing here, we give the, of course, give our call, which the club's call, which is W5PFC. We go as W5 private first class. It's easier to go on the air. And this exchange would be how many radios we have going and what are we using, which is we're using emergency power. At the moment we have 2. We're running on 20 meters here on sideband, and there's guys in there running on, I believe, W right now. And everything running on emergency power, so we are 2 Alpha. That's going to be our exchange for the time being, and the fellows there making the Go-To going on, so that would be a whole separate ball game for that. But overall, you just give your call, and you go and give your exchange, and 7-3, and that's about it.
All right, well, appreciate it. Well, Field Day ended at 1 o'clock Central Time. It's a little after 1. They've already started tearing down. I stopped in to see how many contacts they made, and it looks like they made a little over 350. That's not too bad considering they only ran 2 stations full-time, CW and a phone, and then there for a little while they started up a digital station. I think they had about 16 people come to get on the air at the Go-To station, which is very respectable. Hopefully they introduce some new people to amateur radio. That's kind of what it's all about. Anyway, I know I had a really good time. maybe Jim, George, and I will be able to set up our own field day station again next year. So watch for us on the air.
You know, Jim, I was, felt bad about sending Tommy out on his own to cover field day like that, and especially since he thought, the day before that I would be going with him. But anyway, he did a great job there and got a little coverage. And, the Jackson Club didn't have as big a field day this year as they've had in years past.
Yeah.
Quite scaled down. So
Yeah.
not sure what was up with that, but at least they were out there doing it.
Come see, come side. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. Well, I heard from Richard Dill, KJ6RNL, a fan, who says he loves Amateur Logic. You guys rock. Enjoy the love from Silicon Valley, brothers.
Oh.
I got my ham ticket in early October, and it was one of the best moves I've made. I was amused to find 2 properties at Benny New Hampshire. First, it took me 30 years to finally step up and take the test. The occurrence and extremely convenient local ham cram session helped. And second, it took me 2 weeks to work up the nerve to key down.
Yeah, representing that remark.
And anyway, he said he was a lurker. But finally, my first contact was through the K6 NFI repeater near Stanford University, and it was with fellow ham KJ6ANR Ken. I will never forget that. What a thrill. And I still remember my first contact too, Jim. How about you?
Yes, I do. And guess what? I hear the door opening. I see somebody.
It's Santa Claus.
Hey, there he is.
Come on, pull up a chair, Tommy.
Yeah.
Hand me that mic over there, Jim.
The working man showed up.
Yeah. This is what you call a walk-on or a late walk-on. Don't they have some kind of baseball rule for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, just slide in here between us. Can you scoot
get
that
in here
way a little,
between
Jim?
us. Yeah.
Let's see, I may need to actually zoom back out a little bit here.
There you go. Stick that on.
Yeah, don't we?
Oh.
Peter?
G'day, Tommy.
So, Tommy, we just watched your field day video there, and, I was telling Jim, sorry that I backed out on you on that one, but you did a great job.
Oh, man, I had a good time anyway.
Yeah, you look like you had fun.
Yeah, I had a great time.
You got anything to tell us about it?
Yeah, they,
Wasn't hot, was it? Wasn't hot, was it?
oh, man, it was super hot. It was super hot. Those guys putting up the beam antenna out there on the grass, they kind of waited till the sun came up. Those poor fellas were about to die. I felt so bad for them. I was just glad it wasn't me.
I hear you.
Oh, I understand. Whew.
Yeah, but anyway, I had a great time. They were very very accommodating, and it was really awesome.
Had some good chow, I know.
Actually, I didn't eat with them.
Okay. No, they always do. One of the things I look forward to when I can go and be with them.
Yeah, they catered it, but I ended up leaving a little bit early before the food showed up. Which is unlike me.
Yeah. Me too.
Very unlike him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I got an email.
Okay.
You guys covered all the emails?
Not
No.
yet.
All
Waiting
right.
on you.
Well, I was dying to do one.
I can tell by the excitement in your voice.
Yeah.
Who's this from?
This one's from my friend Bill. Where is
What's
his
Bill's
call sign? His call sign is not on here. It was.
Oh, it's not.
It's Bill
Bill Richardson,
Yeah.
N5VEI.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, M5VEI. It's that Bill. You guys remember Bill from the balloon episode?
Ridgeland
Yeah.
Titans.
Yeah, he said
Balloon launch.
he's talking about the payload on his on the balloon. He's talking about how the crickets were interested in the the ones
That
in
was
the
several episodes back.
yeah, it was those everybody usually enjoys those balloon
Man,
episodes,
yeah.
especially me. Anyway, it said talking about the crickets in there. It said the ones in the sealed bottles lived because they're pressurized, and the ones in the unsealed bottle, all their legs popped off from the lack of pressure.
That was kind of the expectations.
Yeah, expansion of the internal organs, what he was saying.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Cricket killers.
Yeah. Anyway, the beta people are going to be coming to look for you, Bill. Anyway, he said they replicated the film experiment that they couldn't identify last year, and they got got the same results. It might be interesting to do a follow-up on that to see if there are any viewers that can help to identify the phenomenon.
Yeah.
Go back and look at that episode, and you'll see what Bill's talking about.
Yeah.
That we actually filmed or showed a shot of the film that they processed that had that phenomenon.
If you can identify what caused it, then we can pass it on to Bill, or you can get in touch with Bill and let him know.
Yeah. Well, Jim.
Yeah.
What is your next piece of paper there say?
It says, we got a little email here from Eric, AC5CW, and the subject is music for our show. And he says he knows Joe Walsh made the intro for Ham Nation, which is correct. And he says that got him to tinkering around with his own guitar, and he came up with some stuff, and he attached it for the AmateurLogic.TV show to have some background music and some segments.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Eric. We've been listening to it right here. Well, we talked a little earlier about the new shack here, and let's take a look around at some of the questions you had about some of the unique things here that we had done. Nothing earth-shattering, but some ideas that I think are going to make things a little easier for me anyway.
Good deal.
Since everything had to be removed from the old building before the building could be moved itself, the process began by renting one of these pods. Here's a shot of the old building. You can see it's in bad need of a paint job again, which it'll get soon. And it served me well for about 15 years, but boy, it's going to be nice to have a little room to spread out. Here's the new building, and you can see I decided to go with the steel building this time because I expect lower maintenance on it, and you can tell I don't like to paint a lot. I don't expect it'll be quite as energy efficient, and it's definitely noisier when it rains, but I believe I can live with those compromises. Now this segment is being shot a couple of days after we recorded this episode of AmateurLogic.TV. Wayne and his brother Vince have been back over and helped me move some things in. It's starting to feel a little crowded again. I've got to sort through all this stuff and get it on the shelves and throw away things that I just don't need anymore. I've moved in one of the metal shelves here on the left-hand wall, and back behind that will go the AM transmitter if I ever get it in here. The green screen wall's in the back, and over on the right wall I've got two more of the metal shelves, and then I've got the workbench. Now the bench is a little bit bigger than the one I had before. It's kind of junky right now, but that's going to be cleaned up and some more items will be put on the pegboard soon. I've also got one more of the metal racks here in the rear of the building, and you can see right in front of it that black thing. That's a 7-foot equipment rack that I got from a local TV station that no longer needed it. That'll hold my ham and computer and audio gear. This is the wall behind the rack. You'll see I've got a standard 110 volt AC plug there on the left, and right below it is a panel with two wires coming out. That's an HDMI video cable and a Cat5 cable, and those run to the rear of the building near the green screen. In the center there is a panel with 3 XLR connectors on it that are connected to microphone cables that also run to the same location back by the green screen. And to the right there you'll see an LB electrical box that runs to the floor, and that's what I'm going to use to bring my antenna cables into the shack. Now it should accommodate all the antenna cables that I currently have. However, if I would have been thinking right, I would have probably put in another one because, you know, we're always adding new antennas. So it could come a day when I have to drill another hole in the floor, but I'm not totally opposed to that. I've got a cover that goes over this box, and I'll drill holes in that to run the coaxes through and then seal around them to hopefully keep the insects and rodents out. On the same wall immediately behind my desk is another LB box, and this one has the electrical power coming into it, but there are also several other cables. There's the cable television, the internet, a few Cat5 cables, and some multi-pair audio cables, as well as telephone cables. Now those run to a punch block here I've got mounted on the right hand side that I use to connect all this stuff to, and there's another punch block at the other end of the cables inside my house, so I've got a good way to get signals back and forth. Now this needs a little cleanup yet, so I'll be neatening that up as soon as I get everything connected. Here's the breaker panel for the building. On the left hand side you'll notice that I have one 220 volt breaker, and that runs to a couple of 220 outlets that I have here in the building, one for my linear amplifier and another for that possible future AM transmitter. On the right hand side you can see I've got a row of 110 volt breakers. Since I have a lot of outlets in here, I wanted them well protected and the possibility to switch them on and off individually. Now over on the left you'll see office wiring, and that's a diagram that I drew up of the wiring of the building so that I've got a quick reference in the future if I ever need to know how anything's connected. Now here's a shot of what Jimmy, Tommy, and I see when we're shooting the show. There's a HD television there connected to the camera. That's our confidence monitor to let us see what's actually on and if we have audio. And there's a smaller monitor right beside that we watch Peter on Skype. Up here in the right hand top corner is a softbox fluorescent light. That's our main light. One more unique feature of the building is the vaulted ceilings. Now you can see I still need to do a little molding work. These are 8-foot walls, but the ceiling slopes up toward the center of the building where it's about 9.5 feet tall. Now that's done for a couple of reasons. One is to allow us to get the video lights up good and high where they really should be. And another reason is for acoustics, because parallel walls are very reflective, and by using this acoustic material and having the vaulted ceiling, it changes the reflections that come off the wall. Now I also did this so that I've got a black box up there in the middle where I can install a ceiling fan if I would like. And also you'll notice that there are a couple of 110 volt outlets up there. Those run to a switch on the wall, and that's where we plug in our video lights to do the show. So there's your tour of the new shack / office / studio / man cave. It's pretty junky right now, and I've got a lot of work in here to clean things up, and hopefully we'll be giving you another view of it in the future as things come together.
I tell you, George, we are getting uptown now. Built-in connectors in the wall for mics and such. Whew, not gonna know how to act.
Those are actually awesome. That's the first time I've seen them.
Not gonna know how to act.
It's kind of like a broadcast station. Huh?
Yeah, it is.
As a matter of fact, the AM transmitter is going right over there.
It's like a real studio.
You need an ATV transmitter, George.
Eventually,
hey, yeah.
Eventually. We're working on that, by the way.
We would really, there's live, and then there's live, and that really would be live, wouldn't it, if we were transmitting as we film.
Speaking of video, Peter, you've got an interesting email down there, don't you?
I do indeed. I've got an email here from Troy. Troy's a collector of vintage video, camera, and TV equipment. He had a question, though, a fairly technical question, where he's got a problem with the high voltage in his composite video signal out. It's a bit beyond my technical capabilities, but I'll pass his email on to a friend of mine, Peter, VK3BFG, who can possibly help. On a more general note, though, if you've got a technical question, feel free to put a post on our Facebook page, and hopefully somebody in the community might be able to help you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's happened quite a bit. Just go to Facebook, do a search for Amateur Logic, and come join our group. How many members we got now, Tommy?
It's over 800.
812.
813. I added a new one today.
813. You added a new one today.
Yeah.
It's been quite incredible because it just seemed like yesterday that you were saying, oh, we're up to about 600 members, and we've been just steadily getting 3 and 4 people a day. It's quite incredible, the growth.
Yeah, it's a great community on there. A lot of nice guys and a lot of good technical information being passed around. It's not just strictly about amateur logic.
No, not at all.
Oh, yeah, computers, pretty much anything.
Yeah, ham radio, just anything any of 813 people think about. So.
Yeah.
Jim, what have you got for us this week?
Well, I thought that I would do a review of my longtime daily driver rig control software, which I love, and it's written or authored by N4PY, and it's quite simply called the N4PY software. Hello AmateurLogic fans, today we're going to take a look at some rig control software. It's what I use on a daily basis to control my Tintec Pegasus. The software is from N4PY. Ready? Let's take a look. Welcome to the N4PY rig control software review. We are looking at the software here. This is on a Windows 7 platform, so it might look slightly different on a Windows XP box or whatever you may have. You may be running Windows 8 at this point. And we're going to take a look around the interface and various parts and components of the program. But first, let's talk a little bit about what you can control with the N4PY software. As far as manufacturers go, the program controls a very wide spectrum of rigs. Manufacturers, including L-Craft, Kenwood, Tintec, ICOM, Yaesu, all the big names, but also receivers, Perseus, RF Space, even more. And within each of these manufacturers that we've mentioned, the depth of rigs, individual models, is rich. So many different Kenwood models can be controlled, for example, as well as Tintec and L-Craft. Okay, not only we should mention different models, but also their amps, the manufacturer's amps, third-party amps even, rotor control even. And it also controls a second rig and includes support to do that and track via VFOB up here a second rig, so you can literally have a 2-receiver shack via the N4PY software. So that's something that many contesters use this particular software for. Okay, moving on now, we're going to talk a little bit about connectivity. That's the first thing you have to do, right, is get your rig connected to the N4PY software. And that's done via the traditional COM port, serial port interface, hardware interface method. In other words, you hook your rig up to the serial port on the computer and select what corresponding COM port you'd like to use to control your rig, and then of course select your rig from these selections. If you don't see your rig on here, that doesn't mean anything in particular. You should inquire at N4PY's website about which version you should buy, and then you will be able to hook up your L-Craft or whatever it might be. Also, the second rig, there is a place to hook that up. Wouldn't it be nice to have a L-Craft K2 as your second receiver, or a Tintec RX350 for that matter. But also, you're able to connect up a remote pod, and let's go out to the website for just a moment so that we can show you what this is. It's a knob, I call it. It's called a pod knob, and this is an external tuning knob that you can hook to the computer. The N4PY software supports it for every rig it controls, and you can use this knob to tune, just like you would tune your rig regularly. If you have a fully software controlled rig, you might like the opportunity to have an external knob that you can just pull up next to the keyboard and not have to reach across the shack to use. I happen to have one for my Tintec rig, but it is a knob that's made by Tintec, and it works beautifully. I know you can't see me moving it, but I'm turning it right now as opposed to using the mouse. Okay, so that's connectivity hardware-wise. Moving on to other preferences and menu settings. The software is very feature-rich. You can control and set many things. Preferences-wise, we're going to move down through this list of menus now and just in general give you an overview of things that can be controlled and set from the preferences in the menus. Here, the default filter position and AGC settings for different modes can be set. The PTT toggle and tuning settings, more time settings, auto CWID settings, various and sundry settings, all can be set from the preferences menus. Frequency scanning settings, frequency start and stop settings for frequency scanning, etc. Colors, call signs, transverter settings for 6 meter and 2 meter transverters are supported directly by the software. Different and various user settings for the transverters. RTTY, PSK settings, both are supported natively by the software. SWLing, if you're a shortwave listener, you can tweak the band assignments by frequency. Tuning steps can be set and assigned to the various buttons here, and that is extremely handy. Transmitter settings, internal tuner support for your transmitters. CW settings for QSK, key speed, dit and die weights, SSB settings. Some of these we may look at a little bit more in depth in a moment. What else? The tuning methods are fantastic. I can grab with my mouse this graphical representation of the band plan, showing me the CW portion in blue, the SSB portion in green, and I can do some really quick, fast tuning and move from one part of the band to the other in a hurry. If you have a mouse with a scroll wheel, you can turn that and do something very similar. The pod knob that we mentioned can be turned, and I'm sure there's many more ways, like let's try the cursor keys on the keyboard. Yep, that works, left and right keys. Here we are on 40 meters, and if we needed to zero beat this guy, we would turn on our spot tone, match that in our tuning. Anyway, you can change these filter assignments. Right click, here you have a selection. For instance, if I wanted to make this lowest button here 300 Hertz, I could do so. Well, really, we're out of time. There's so much more I wanted to show you, like the band scanning features where you can visually tune up and down the band by pointing and clicking on different and various signal sources. Also, the memory's really and truly only limited by the disk storage available. Window control, these are all individual windows within the larger window, and you can turn these on and off, but we're just really out of time. I don't have time to tell you about any more, except that you should go to n4py.com. So there you have it. I don't know what else I can tell you except to say that obviously I'm very satisfied. I believe if you give it a try, you will be too.
Here's Email with another Cheap Old Man Minute.
Welcome to another episode of Cheap Old Man Minutes. So you got trees in your backyard, and the slingshot just doesn't cut it anymore. So, reading QST and finding articles about this and other air guns that you can build for very little money, and you come up with one like this. Yeah? Alright, this is the barrel. You got that part? Mm-hmm. This is the valve. This is the tire valve that you use to pump it up. This is the tank. And how it works is you open this valve to let the air push, which shoots out a projectile that holds whatever piece of fishing twine or rope that you want to shoot out. You just put that in there. Alright. I'm not going to shoot anything, so. And the trick is, the faster you turn this, the higher the projectile will go. Like this. Alright. With approximately 40 to 60 pounds of pressure that you could easily use a bike air pump to put it in there. You can shoot it over probably the highest tree in your yard. In this case, pine trees, and this is the loop. It's actually up there that I made in the previous episode. So it definitely works with very little effort, and once again, very little moolah. You can see here we have the tire valve that's in the PVC tank portion of the gun. The valve itself, and then the barrel, and the projectile is nothing more than a little bitty piece of PVC that happens to fit in the barrel part. So from KE5QKR, there's another Cheap Old Man Minute.
Great job, Email, and there's always one thing you can count on from Email. And what's that, Jim?
That it's cheap.
Hello everyone. I'm going to make a lot of you out there quite jealous in just a second. I've got a Raspberry Pi, and chances are you don't. That's because there's about a 6-month waiting list for these things. Now, in case you've been hiding under a rock, a Raspberry Pi is an entire computer on a single small board, and it costs just $35. It's designed in England, and it's designed for educational purposes. It's basically made for hacking. Let's have a closer look at it. This is the Raspberry Pi Model B. There's an ARM processor on board and a graphics chip which is capable of 1080p video. There's an Ethernet connector for the internet, a couple of USB connectors for anything that uses USB, e.g. a wireless keyboard. We've got a sound jack here for sound out, composite video jack here for composite video out, and an expansion connector of some kind here. No doubt there'll be expansion boards offered in due course. Around here we've got a micro USB connector, and you supply power through this connector. So you'll need to go and get yourself a plug pack from your local mobile phone retailer. It should be 5 volts at least 1 amp, no less, at least 1 amp. Around here we've got a HDMI connector. So you've got the choice. You've got composite video out or HDMI out for your television and or monitor. Finally, around the back here, we've got an SD card connector. You'll need this, an SD card, to boot off, and also for extra storage. So far so good. I'm sure a number of people out there are asking, where do you get one? Well, the distribution channels are RS Components and also Element 14. So you might want to go first though to the Raspberry Pi website, have a look at the Model A and B configurations just to see which one suits you better. Now you can go and put various forms of Linux on this and actually turn it into a fully working, although somewhat slow, computer. But today I'm not going to do that. We'll leave that for another day. Instead, I'm going to overclock it and turn it into a media server. In other words, I'm going to hack it. Here's the Model B Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to use one of them. And I've got a HDMI connector for my monitor. I've got a mobile phone charger rated at 5 volts at 1 amp with a micro USB connector on the end. I've also got a 4GB SDHC card, which is what I'm going to boot off. And then finally, a USB wireless mouse and keyboard. It's now time to install software. First thing you need to do is to go to the raspbmc.com website and download the appropriate installer for your system. I'm running Windows, so logically I'm going to download the Windows installer. Then once you've done that, unzip it and put it in a folder. In this case, it's in my C:(test) folder. There's a few files there. The main thing is you just need to click on the one marked installer, and the next thing you know, up will pop this box. Now, you should have taken your 4GB card and using an adapter or some other method, connect that to your computer so that it shows up as an extra drive, and that drive should appear in this box here. You merely tick the appropriate drive and then click install. About 30 minutes later, depending on the speed of your connection, you should get a box like this saying that RaspBMC was successfully installed to your SD card. Now at this point, you could take the card, plug it into your Raspberry Pi, and with a little bit of luck, hopefully XMBC would work. However, I did say I was going to overclock the Pi to get a bit of extra performance out of it. A word of warning before I do this, if you overclock your Pi, you can void your warranty and you can brick your Raspberry Pi. So you do so at your own risk. Don't come whinging to us. Now, to overclock the Pi, what I've done is I've made up a file called config.txt. This is it here, config.txt. And I've put in 3 lines. The first one is ARM_FREQ equals 800. The second is SDRAM_FREQ equals 500. And the last is config_HDMI_boost equals 7. The first two overclock your system. Not by a huge amount, probably it'll increase the performance by about 16%. The last one is an extra little fix for a problem I had with flickering image on my monitor. I found my image was flickering all the time, and what you can do is that can be due to perhaps not enough signal getting through. And this setting, config_HDMI_boost, can be set from 1 through to 7. And I find that setting it to 7, for me at least, has significantly improved the picture. So what you need to do is, having made up that file, simply copy it to the root directory of your SDHC card, as I have there. Alright, let's set up the Pi and see how it works. Okay, it's time for the big test, but first I should point out that this 4GB card turned out to be a complete failure. I don't know whether that's because it's a Class 2 card, but what I've done instead is I've gotten a 16GB Class 10 card, and I've gone through all those steps again and installed the software on the card. I did find one thing though, the software overwrites the config.txt file. So what you'll need to do is install the software first and then edit the config.txt file in the root directory to add in those extra lines of code to overclock the device. So let's give it a go. We put the SDHC card in its slot under the Pi, and then we add some power, and we pray that we don't get any smoke. Now, one other thing I've done is that I changed one of those settings again, and in fact I've now overclocked this up to 900 megahertz. So I'm trying to get a 25% speed increase. Now, I've already tested this. If you look, you might see the odd error coming up on the left-hand side. Don't worry about it, it's fine. In a few seconds this will boot up and you'll have the full XMBC menu with a whole range of options to that you can go and use. And here we go. Now even at, I'll give it another second or two, even at 900 megahertz this seems quite stable. Haven't had any problems with it whatsoever. Now, as you see, you can look at the weather, what the weather is for your area after you've put your location into the settings. You can look at photos, videos, music, pretty much your typical media center. Now, we'll show you something here. There's this thing called video add-ons, which are like extra access to streaming video services. I've already gone in and added a couple, NASA videos and Twit TV, but you can get more. Now we're going into this Get More menu, and you'll see there's a whole range of different TV services that can be streamed off the internet that you can add in. You just pick the one you want, double click on it, and it will install. Once you've done that, you can go back to your menu, and so we go to NASA videos and live streams, and then we'll double click on NASA TV Educational, and lo and behold, I've got NASA TV streaming to my Pi. Now, I might need to check the settings because I'm not getting any sound, but I suspect that's because I've got it set to the HDMI sound and not the analog sound, which is this plug here. So we'll stop this and head back to the menu. Okay, one final thing, and that concerns again these add-ons. There are add-ons that are built in that you can select from in that menu, but there are also third-party add-ons that you can download off the internet, and they take the form of a zip file. You download the zip file and put that onto your SDHC card, and then what you need to do is to go into System Settings, then into Add-ons, and then hit your back button, and you will see, it's making a liar of me. I'll go to Video Add-ons. There it is. Got a little bit lost there. You'll see Install from Zip File. If you click on that, you can tell the program where your zip file is stored on the SDHC card, and you can then get the extra functionality. So there you go. That's XMBC running on the Raspberry Pi. I think we can claim that as a success. Yeah, George, I got my case from a group called the Blackpool Linux Users Group. It's not the cheapest case, but I actually think it's rather nice. It's laser cut acrylic. Element 14 also sell cases as well, but I'm sure it'd be quite fun to build your own.
That's nice.
I think I found a case for mine right here. I'm going to mount it in this, and save a few bucks.
That I really like that laser cut acrylic case.
Yeah, that's nice.
No, I'll probably come up with something homebrew.
Oh, I know
case.
you will. You always do.
But boy,
I really like the Lego kits, or the people that have made a case out of Lego. I think that looks quite nice.
I'm thinking of maybe making an Echolink node with this instead of running that big computer. Think that'll work?
Yeah, absolutely. I bet there's probably even some prior stuff by someone that you can look at.
Maybe. There's an EchoLink Linux client.
Yes.
Jimmy, you speak Linux, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, so you should be able to program it, no problems.
Certified Linux geek, yeah, no problem.
Well, we're winding up close to the end of the show here, and we've got one final email. And if we flip the four-headed coin here, it lands on Peter.
Take it away.
Now, which one was it? Oh, yes, the final email is from Jason, KG4LV, soon to be N4CNC. And he sent me an email just querying about a place called Gumbaya Park, he asked whether I knew of it. And yeah, it's just basically a recreation park. I think it's privately owned, just down near where I live. I've been past it, but I can't say I've been in there, but it looks quite nice.
Yeah, that's an interesting looking photo there with the big peacock and all.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I don't know about y'all, but I had a lot of fun today.
Yeah, it's nice shooting in the new studio, the new W5JDX Man Cave.
And it's bound to be at least 10 degrees cooler than it would have been in the other one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I only had about half as much fun as you guys did.
Well, yeah.
Well, you'll be here for the whole thing next time.
Yeah, I have to come early next time, make up for it.
Yeah, no dramas, as Peter says.
Okay, everybody, have a good summer. We'll be back next month, hopefully on the 15th next month.
Yes, just a little tad late this time, but
Not much.
you can see why it's worth the wait.
7-3.
Yep. See you next time.
73s.
Peter, I know you've been having a lot of fun down there, and unfortunately, I've got what you've got, but have not had a chance to play with it yet. Tell us what you've been doing. That didn't sound right.
No, that's absolutely good. We're going with that. You're not cutting that or taking that out.